Guys, once again, good evening and welcome to the class. And we have this class on the urogenital system, in which first of all I'll be talking about the urinary system, and then I'll be talking about the reproductive system. And there is not much to be understood in the slides. The written material is not to be followed very keenly, because what's more important is how these structures are being formed, rather than any detail about the structures. So, okay, somebody is saying that the voice is not very clear. Okay, let me see. Good evening, good evening. So, is my voice clear now? Please, you can just, write on the message. All right, thank you so much. So, I begin with this class today, and we begin with the urogenital system. And I'm going to start from where we left, okay? Okay, so this was the place at which I left you last, right? This is the place where the neural folds are being formed, the neural crest is being formed. This is the axis. This notochord, this green one, is telling you the axis of the embryo. And what you see around it, now watch this very carefully. I told you this in the last lecture as well. Around the axis, we have the paraxial mesoderm. Little away is the intermediate mesoderm, and more lateral is the lateral mesoderm. Okay, so these things, just keep your mind absolutely clear on these three things, because I'm going to not talk about anything extra in this lecture today. It's a little lengthy lecture, and at the same time very, very important lecture. I want to keep it as crisp as possible, so I'm going to tell you only the things which are required from your examination point of view and from your understanding point of view. So this is the axis. This green thing is the axis of the embryo, like this, right? Anything that's surrounding the axis becomes the paraxial mesoderm. The mesoderm which goes around the paraxial mesoderm is the intermediate mesoderm, and more lateral is the lateral mesoderm. And after this, in the development, this stage comes. Okay, this is the stage that comes, because now the embryo, like I told you, embryo is not just like this, it's folding like this also. It's folding on itself. It's folding on itself, and then it's folding craniocaudally as well. So when it's folding on itself like this is the structure that gets formed. And here now you have this, around this we have the paraxial mesoderm, but the intermediate mesoderm has gone here, okay? And this is the intermediate mesoderm that is forming the, not just the nephrogenic cords, but also the gonadal cords. And this over here, this is the lateral mesoderm. So the formation of skeletal muscles, skeletal system, cartilages, bones, this is from the from the lateral mesoderm. And this one over here is the intermediate mesoderm. Okay, just understand this. And then you have a little video to explain the same concept in 3D space, but this is a very lengthy video, and this is a video short for complete embryology. We are not interested in complete embryology, so I'll keep telling you what's important for you. You don't have to watch the entire video and understand the entire thing. Here I'm just trying to tell you how the two cords, the nephrogenic cord and the gonadal cord or the genital cord, is formed from the mesoderm. Now remember that I'm talking about, this was your plate, okay? This was the ectoderm, this was the endoderm, and over here is the mesoderm. And finally what happens is that the embryo folds like this, okay? And it folds like this as well, right? So if you take a cross section, you will see the mesoderm in both the directions like this, okay? There is a thickening that gets formed in the mesoderm, and those thickenings is, one is the nephrogenic cord, the other one is the gonadal cord. And then when it's close to the peritoneum, it's called as the nephrogenic ridge and the gonadal ridge, which is again very, very closely linked both together. And that is why whenever there is a problem in the gonadal system, the reproductive system, kidneys also malform mostly. Anyways, so let's begin with this video, and I'll skip this video, most part of it, because unnecessary information is given over there, because this was, like I said, a video for proper complete embryology, which you do not want.
Hello, I am Dr. S.
So we'll go here. Yes, I'll bring you till this point. And how do you come to this point is because this is the embryo. That's the embryo, okay? So embryo over here is the axis of the embryo. I hope you can understand. This is the axis of the embryo. Around this axis is the paraxial mesoderm. A little away from it, here is the intermediate mesoderm, which you can see as the blue line over there. And now we start.
I mean that there will be the section of embryo somewhat like this. So somewhat like this in a transverse section. Let's appreciate these structures in a transverse section as well.
So this is how the embryo looks like. Okay. Over here, outside somewhere, you have the ectoderm, and over here, this blue line actually is showing the mesoderm. So it's through and through. This entire embryo, it's through and through. So you can see it from this side also. You can see it from this side also. And now they're taking a midline cross
So
section.
let's go to that 3D model. So here is the transverse section, and here I think you can appreciate the stuff more clearly, that after the folding what actually happened. Let's mark these structures. So
can you hear the audio, guys? Very important thing. If you can understand the audio, just message me. Please don't unmute yourself, because the audio goes berserk. Just message me if you can hear the audio.
So after the folding, here is the paraxial mesoderm, and then there is intermediate mesoderm, and from intermediate mesoderm, actually initially it was somewhat like this. This was the lateral plate mesoderm. So here is the splanchnic. This one was the splanchnic layer, and this one was the somatic layer, somatophoric mesoderm, and in between will be that intraembryonic coelom. So as it grows further, the intraembryonic coelom will become larger. So after the intermediate mesoderm, there will be this somatic mesoderm, somatophoric mesoderm, which will be inner lining from inside the body wall. This is the body wall formed by the ectoderm. So it is lining the body wall. This is the somatic mesoderm. Somatic mean related to wall of the body wall. So somatic mesoderm. Then there is the intraembryonic splanchnic mesoderm. Of course, if you understand the previous lecture, somewhat here there would be the endoderm, which is forming the GIT.
Now, you don't need to know all these somatic and splanchnoploric mesoderm. All you need to know is that this is the axis. This purple thing is showing the axis. This around the axis, this light pink is the paraxial mesoderm. Okay, this one, since this is the axis, right in the middle is the axis. So around the axis, this is the paraaxial mesoderm. And a little away from this and this is actually the intermediate mesoderm. And the intermediate mesoderm is now throwing a cord called as the nephrogenic cord. I'll just take you to there. Okay. So you don't have to know all this big things. But yes, one thing which I would want to know is that this cord that is thrown, this part, can you see this lining? It's actually nothing but the coelomic epithelium. And it's in very close connection with this cord. This I'll call it the nephrogenic cord. That is the cord which is going to finally form the kidney. So this is a cord which is called as a nephrogenic cord. And this yellow thing, it's actually nothing but the coelomic epithelium, the initial coelomic epithelium, and the future parietal peritoneum. It's in close contact with the nephrogenic cord. Okay, this thing, just remember, I'll tell you the significance of it. And we slowly go further. And now I'll tell you what happens is here. This cord, this nephrogenic cord, now gives rise to this part, which is called as the gonadal ridge, or the gonadal cord, or the genital cord. It's emanating, it's a part of mesoderm only, and it's emanating from the nephrogenic cord. Okay, so now you have in axis two long cords like this. They say that this is more ventromedial, the gonadal cord, the gonadal ridge is more ventromedial to the two nephrogenic cords. Okay, so if you see the embryo like this, it's folded like this. So over here, running like this, are the two nephrogenic cords, and kind of closer together are the two gonadal cords, the gonadal ridges.